Shalom. I want to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honor to the elders and to you brothers out there that's doing the work in faithful and in truth. Honor to you brothers. And I'm going to bring out a precept in Matthew chapter 26, verse 41. Watch out and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. We desire to do what's right. We desire to do what's good. But our flesh is weak. That's why we have to watch and pray. Because if we let our worldly flesh take control of us, that could lead us into our destruction. We cannot be blinded. We cannot let the material of this world take a hold of us. Because there's a lot of jake out there who are falling into the temptation of this world. Mainly women. So many jake are tempted because of women, and many of them that was in the truth have fallen off because of women. And usually the women that they are falling off, the woman that caused them fall off, those same women already have another man. We have to be strong in this. We have to stay true. We have to be faithful to the spirit of Yahweh, Yahushai. We have to follow a good example of Joseph. Because Joseph, he was a prime example of how true he stayed to the faith, of how faithful he was to the Most High. And I'm going to bring you a precept of Joseph, of how he flee from temptation. Now, this is Genesis chapter 39, verse 6. You know what? I'm going to start verse 4. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house and all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Now, Joseph, of course, if you all know the story of Joseph, I'm sure a lot of you know the story of Joseph, how he was sold into slavery and was brought here to Egypt as slave. But Pharaoh had found favor in Joseph and put him in charge over his household. And because of Joseph, that's the reason why Pharaoh's house, that's the reason why Potiphar's house was blessed. It was prosperous because of Joseph. Why? Because the spirit of Yahweh was in Joseph. The spirit of the Most High was with Joseph in that day, and that's why Potiphar's house was blessed. And he says, and the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast his eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. You see, that's why it's not good for a lot of you brothers out there to leave your woman in the house with your boys, because that's how temptation begin. You bring your boys over to your house, and then you left your woman you left your woman in the house with your boy, and then and you go out there to go grab something, and then boom, something happened while you're not around. And that's how a lot of men fell to that temptation. And in your mind, you would think that it's the man that tries to seduce the woman, but nope, it's the other way around. It's the woman that's seducing the men. Because if he found favor in that man, just like Potiphar's wife who found favor in Joseph, she'll do everything he can to tempt him, to seduce him, to get him to fall into her bed. And I'll continue. And And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither have he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do these great wickedness and sin against the Most High? So Joseph was telling Potiphar's wife, what the hell you think you're doing coming at me like that, asking me to have sex with you? That is a great sin against the Most High. And it came to pass as she spake unto Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business. And there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. You see? This woman wasn't giving up. She, day by day, she came to Joseph. Joseph tried to, Joseph reject her, stood to stay away from her, and tell her no many of times. But that woman is so persuasive. She's almost so persuasive, and she tried her best to get Joseph to lie with her. And the scripture this said this, that in the beginning comes sin, through her we all die. If she had managed to get Joseph to lie with her, the Most High would have killed Joseph. But to the spirit of Yahweh, Joseph had fled from her, because Joseph remained true to the Most High's word. He did not do what was evil in the sight of the Most High. He fled away from temptation. He did not let his worldly, fleshly body to control of him. And that's the mind frame we men ought to be. We cannot let the worldly thing, whether it be woman, wealth, or anything that's in this world, that can tempt us into living this truth. We have to be in the same mind frame like Joseph was, and flee from that temptation. But and that's how a lot of men fall off too. You got men, of course. You also got men that seduces other men's wife. You got brother that was in the truth that's sleeping for the brother's wife. That was sleeping for the brother's wife, trying to seduce their wife. Likewise, you have wife that seduce. You got wife that's seducing. Like for example, you see a guy, a man that you know all your life, your best man, your best friend. You invite him over to your house. Once you invite him over to your house, you give a dab. You say, "Oh, I'm gonna go grab something. I'll be right back," and you left him there with your wife. Do you honestly think that nothing's gonna happen once you leave? Of course something's going to happen. In fact, there's a scripture that tell you that do not leave a man in the same room with your woman. Otherwise, something is definitely going to occur. Because usually it's the woman that made the initiative. She made the first move to try to do that man. But that's just a prime example to show you how that's just a prime example of the scripture to show that a man of the Most High is not supposed to fall into temptation. That we're supposed to beat temptation. Joseph was a prime example of that, of how he fled from temptation. And that's the mind frame we ought to be. We put the Most High first before everything. And I'm going to bring another precept in 1 Timothy. Okay, 1 Timothy. Okay. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 9. Because we cannot let the worldly thing get into us. Because if you would 1 Timothy verse 6, verse 9, but they that will be wished for unto temptation and ensnare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Because that's what temptation do. for the love of this world, for the love of money, or any materialistic thing that's in this world would lead us into our destruction. If we abuse the world, we worship what's in this world, that's going to be our doom. That's going to be our downfall. How can we ever hope to get salvation if we put the world first before the Most High? Because you got men out there that fall off because of money. You got men out there that fall off because of women. You got men that fall off because of their church. All that are worldly temptation. And that is what we must avoid. And that's why it says right here in verse 9, but then thou be which fall into temptation and a snare and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. That's going to be our judgment if we're not careful. That's what the scripture said in Matthew 21 and 26 verse 41. Watch and pray so therefore that we do not fall into temptation. And I'm going to bring you on 1 Corinthians, actually James chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endure temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Blessed is the man that endure temptation. You see, temptation, because the hour that temptation is going to come, that final hour temptation, when the economy collapse, when all hell break loose, famine strike, when hunger strike, when all this take place, when the whole world turn upside down in that final hour, that's when the Most High truly gonna test the men who claim to be in the truth. That's when that temptation is gonna fall in, because the devil knows our weakness. And if not for the spirit of Yahweh Shai, we will not make it through that temptation. But the Most High said, blessed is the man that endures temptation. And what that temptation is going to be? That RFID chips. Because that's going to be that final temptation. Because what's going to end up happening when all hell breaks loose, when the economy collapses? There ain't going to be no food. The food supply is going to want to low. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your house. You're going to be out on the street. It's going to be chaotic. And Esau, he's going to follow a lot of you niggas out there. It's going to be like, oh, if you take that RFID chip, you will be safe. If you take that RFID chip, you will not starve no more. That's how a lot of niggas are going to be tempted. And for you jicks out there, and for a lot of you out there who got one EBT food EBT food stamp welfare, you're gonna take that RFID chip just so you won't lose that. That's that final hour temptation. But blessed is the man that endured that temptation, that flee away from that temptation. Walk and talk to those men who flee that temptation. Because if you flee that temptation, you're going to receive a crown of life, which is the salvation of seeing the destruction of your enemy and being set back in the kingdom. And that's that crown of life, to make it through that fire. But woe unto you jacks out there who claim to be in the truth but fall out into the world. Your end is going to be terrible for you. So with that, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, double honor to the elders, and to the brothers out there that's doing the work in faithful and in truth. Honor to you, brothers. Shalom.